"Hey, Bentley," the raccoon, known as Sly Cooper, called from the couch. Bentley hummed from his computer. "What do you know about the Black Rose?" Sly asked. "I've heard of her, but let me look into it on ThiefNet," he said, typing. The Black Rose. Sly had heard about her even more once he arrived in Paris. There was just something about her that seemed to interest him. Maybe it was the fact that she was a master thief like him, as well as a secret assassin. What drives her? What makes her tick? Everything he could get his hands on, he wanted to know. "Here she is," Bentley called. Sly got up and walked over to the turtle, leaning over to see the computer screen. "What do we got?" he asked. "She's a master thief like you, Sly, but no one seems to know her name or where she came from, except for maybe Carmelita, though she might only know her name since there's not much hard background information on her from what I can see. She's also an assassin, and never stays in one place for too long, a few weeks at most. She always wears a silver mask that covers most of her face and has a..." Bentley stopped short. "A what, Bentley?" Sly raised an eyebrow. "A cane." "What?" "She uses a cane, but a special type, one exclusive to her family line." A smirk formed on Sly's lips as he stood straight up, placing a hand on his hip. "Really? Does it say what kind of cane it is?" "It can separate into two smaller canes, turn into a katana sword, and twin daggers." "Interesting. Maybe we could use her to help us get the clockwork parts back, eh, Bentley?" He nudged the turtle, who rolled his eyes. "Sly," Bentley started. "Does it say anything else about her?" Sly asked. "Let's see." He started scanning through the file. "Past experiences with the Claw Gang. Though it was short-lived, other than that, I can't find much else. We gotta find her, because she might know something about the Claw Gang that we don't." "One thing at a time, Sly. First, let's get the tail feathers. I'm sure the fountain is already open for you by now, so let's get going." "Roger that." He tipped his hat before grabbing his cane and disappearing out the door. Upon reaching the nightclub, the fox stopped dead in her tracks. Right before her eyes was the Cooper gang van, the fountain having already been destroyed. She chuckled lightly before heading around to the back, entering through the ventilation shaft. Once she reached her destination, she climbed down onto a pipe, perching on it as she saw the money-loving lizard and the snarky raccoon, his ringtail swaying a bit as the two went back and forth in a pointless argument. Well, the term ringtail suits him well, I'll give him that. "Dimitri, hand over the tail feathers and we can both walk out of this without getting the police involved. We can." Sly was cut off by Dimitri. "So, Raccoonus Dudas, you're totally bumming my house up and bringing me down. So very uncool. Why can't you let the birds and the bees be free, bro?" Dimitri said with his terrible grammar. "Listen, Dimitri, you have no idea what you're dealing with. It'll bring more than your house down," Sly warned. "Look, bro, I see that you're a tough cowboy, a man with taste, style, vision, a connoisseur of the finer things, like me. Look, I'm sure two cats in a bag like us can work something out, yeah? We smoke? Yeah. Look, you see the money? You like money, you can take all you want, I can. Sly cut the lizard off. No deal. You and the rest of the Claw Gang have to be stopped. Clockwork will never again see the light of day. Just hand over the tail feathers, and we can. The Claw Gang must be using the parts for their own nefarious plans, though it could all just be part of something much bigger than that, too. What's with this clocks, bro? Have you no vision? Are you hearing what I'm beaming to you? You think you have juice? Don't show me a little mind when talking about such big things. You think you can swing the bat? Show me your bling and let me shine you. Okay, I'm done listening to this nonsense because it's going nowhere. I have no idea what you're saying and your suit. Before Sly could finish his insult, Ray leapt down from the pipe she was perched on, causing an echo to sound upon landing, both Sly and Dimitri turning as she rose, coming closer to them with her boots echoing on each step. Emerging from the darkness, Ray came into view, swaying her hips and tail as she walked, a hand on her hip. I think I've had enough of listening to you two argue like children, so instead of playing with each other, why not settle this like real men, huh? You must be the famous Black Rose, I'd assume. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Sly said. You would be assuming correctly, and the pleasure's all mine. I'm the one they call Black Rose, but you must be Sly Cooper. From the notorious Cooper Gang, am I right? The one and only, but you're rather popular yourself, Miss Rose, he replied. You're quite the thief and assassin from what I've researched on you. But I wonder, is there a pretty face hiding beneath that lovely mask of yours? He leans in a bit, his fingers grazing her chin, lifting it upwards to gaze at him as the raccoon cracked a smirk. You're quite the sweet talker, too. The rumors about you don't lie, that's for sure. Rose, baby, come crawling back to me, yeah? Dimitri cut in. Ray suddenly scoffed. Flirt all you want, Dimitri, but my answer is still no. The only thing I came here to do is make you turn off this racket so I can finally get some sleep. I haven't gotten but maybe a couple hours each night, and I'm getting tired of listening to this junk you call music. He shrugged before walking over to Ray, standing before her. Why don't you show me that pretty face? He asked, lifting a hand. Ray grabs his wrist, glaring through the black mesh on her mask. I suggest that unless you want to lose that hand, you won't test my patience, which is already running very thin. The kitten has a hiss, Dimitri purred, Ray growling. For the last time, quit trying to hit on me. She grabbed her black cane from her hip, spinning it in her hand before swinging it, knocking the lizard's feet out from under him. Don't make me have to tell you that again, because I get a lot meaner, Cupcake. Ray hissed. She then turned to face Sly. He's all yours. Do as you wish with him. Will do. He tipped his hat before dashing off. Ray turned, watching as Sly fought Dimitri. He was fast, maybe not as fast as her, but still pretty damn fast. She was somewhat impressed with his fighting style too, which was a lot different than hers, considering she usually uses her cane's transformation modes when she's fighting, depending on the fight. but suddenly Dimitri disappeared in a cloud of smoke. As she glares, a bit worried now, her eyes quickly scanning the area to try and spot the lizard until, behind you, Sly shouted. Huh? Ray whipped around to see Dimitri as she got ready to whack him, but he wrapped his tail around her throat, lifting her into the air. She was being strangled as she gasped and sputtered, clawing at his tail to try and get free, but it was in vain. She dropped her cane and furiously grabbed and clawed at in an attempt to get out of his grasp. Dimitri snickering. You bastard, she managed to choke out through her strangled windpipe. Dimitri let out a hiss as he tightened the grip of his tail, Ray letting out a strangled gasp due to her throat being crushed. Soon her arms were going limp and her vision was hazy. She couldn't even fight back anymore, but suddenly Sly appeared behind the lizard and, using his cane, whacked him in the back of the head. He was knocked out cold and released Ray, the fox hitting the ground. As she gasped, coughing violently from air being forced back into her lungs while gripping onto her throat, Sly got down to her and gently rubbed her back, Ray jumping slightly in surprise as the raccoon grabbed her arm with his other hand to keep her down. Hey, it's okay. It's just me. Just breathe, he cooed, Ray calming down a bit. Once she was fully calmed down and could breathe normally again, Sly helped her stand. Are you okay? She nodded. I am now, thanks to you. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't even a little bit afraid that I was going to die, Ray thought to herself. Suddenly, the two gasped. Upon hearing sirens in the distance, Sly quickly grabbed the tail feathers and stuffed them into a pouch on his belt. While Ray was trying to find an escape route, grabbing her fallen cane, but before she could find a quick way to escape, Sly wrapped his arm around her waist, leaped, taking her with him, though she was surprised by this sudden action as they were escaping. A truck and police cars broke through the wall. Carmelita scanning around when she saw Sly and Ray, the raccoon giving her a wink and a smile as he made his escape. The orange fox hastily following after them. When Sly made it to the van, he set Ray down on the rooftop they were currently on, just as Carmelita called out to them. Hold it right there, thieves. Carmelita looking lovely as ever. Sly smirked. Save it, Ringtail. What the hell are you doing, working with this wench? Oh, I'm the wench? Who's this high-strung cop pointing a shock pistol at us again? You wanna rephrase that, honey? Ray quirked. Shut it, Black Rose. Sly gave a chuckle as he cut in. Well, as much as I'd love to stick around and watch you two ladies bicker, I gotta run. However, before I make my leave, I think I'll take a little something with me. Before Ray could say anything, he wrapped his arm around her waist again and dove off the building, Carmelita gasping. As she ran to the edge, Sly hopped in the van with Ray as they gazed up at the inspector. See ya, Carmi. Ray smirked as her and Sly closed the van doors, driving off. Carmelita growled, waving her fist in the air as she bellowed, Cooper! Vixen! When they were far enough away from Carmelita, the two still in their current position, Sly lifted his hand, wanting to grab Ray's mask, but stopped midway. "Sorry, may I be my guest?" she replied. Sly nodded and placed his hand on her mask, removing it as the fox opened her striking blue eyes. "Well, I guess I was right. There was a pretty face hiding under this mask." Ray smirked. "Is that so?" "You're much more beautiful than I would have imagined, Black Rose." She let out a small chuckle. "You know, that's not my real name, Sly. Just an alias, if you didn't already know that, of course." "Then, if you don't mind my asking, what is your real name?" Ray Vixen." "Ray, I like that. It suits you," he said before getting up to sit on the side bench of the van. Ray joining him. "So what are you all about, Ray?" he asked. "Depends. What do you want to know?" "What are you willing to tell me?" She glanced at the two up front, then back at Sly. "Well, since you're thieves, just like me, I guess I can trust you," she noted before continuing. "You came from a long line of master thieves, correct?" "I merely just scanned through your file." Sly nodded. "Yes, I did." "Well, I did as well. I come from the Vixens, a long line of foxes, and I too have a family book. I don't have it with me now, but it's somewhere safe. My family book is known as the Thievius Foxus, and, like you, I am also a master thief. I've been on my own ever since I was 18 years old, honing my skills to become the thief and assassin I am today, but other than that, I suppose that's all I've got." "Where did you get your cane, if you don't mind? It looks just like mine." Ray grabbed her cane and stared at it for a moment. "It was my mother's. After her and my father were killed, I took it before anyone else could, and did a couple modifications. It could already turn into a katana, but after I was finished, it can now transform into dual canes and twin daggers, which is why I'm also an assassin on occasion." "Well, alright, then, but I suppose I might as well ask this now. So how would you like to join our gang?